What happened to renovating roads? I think in this country, only major roads are tarred. Every other road leading into the streets is not their business. Do things like that. Make investments in actual things, not what's not needed. Okay, House of Assembly. Who says House of Assembly is not even good now?
They're buying SUVs, they are buying ships, they're doing everything.
Yacht.
I still don't want.
Presidential yacht.
Presidential yacht.
That what? When is there water in Asteroid?
Real. That was the yacht should be moved to Lagos or moved to all this coastal area of Nigeria.
And then they will just be paying parking fee. They're not using it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. That's so dramatic, I can't do it. I cannot be serious there. Yeah, welcome to a new episode of the Big Faith podcast. The last couple of episodes have been a little too broody, mental and social commentaries that are not so fun. So today, I have decided to add to that. But it's not going to be social commentary on like men and women. It's going to be more of humanity. Yeah. So for this episode, I have brought my classmate, one of my very good friends on campus. Her name is Yemisi, and I'm not sure you've already noticed, but she's also wearing a cap, which is uncomfortable for me.
That's a no-go for me too.
Only I am allowed to wear a cap on this episode. I know you're kind of challenging my authority, and I'm not sure I like that.
That's the vibes.
Okay, so it should not be the vibe, Yemisi. Today, I have brought her to discuss a couple of things here with me. You'd be the first. No. Yeah, you'd be the first person from my department. No. Third person from my department. I brought YK and
we are graduated.
Yeah, they're both graduates. None graduates from my department. Yeah. But firstly, even before we get into it, I already brought this up, but I'm going to bring it up again. So, as much as I hate stereotypes,
yes,
I think some of them are very true. For example, I called you around 11 a.m. that we should shoot, and it did not show up until it was like a couple of minutes past 1. That's 2 hours later.
What was this information?
You want to defend yourself?
No, I can't defend myself. I use like 1 hour to get ready.
And there's something else hiding behind, like under that cap, like a ratatouille or something. Maybe you have to get in to get ready to it.
To get ready, right? Because I'm not getting ready much. But I have to eat. I have to, prep my mind. Do things. Take time. Even if I don't have skincare, but
I don't have skincare.
Skincare routine, but we still have to take your time.
Yeah, I have my bath with Omo. That's it. That's how much I suck at taking care of my skin. I don't, by the way. I'm not trying to scare you. But let's say I do. Because of Sakba. So guys, we are going to talk on a couple of things here. I don't know where to start from, but I'm going to start with something that's kind of the elephant in the room. Yeah, the biggest of them all. You can probably get what that is. The Armageddon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Human extinction.
Now, I'm just going to throw this out there.
End of the world.
End of the world. Okay, there are a couple of ways that humans can go extinct.
Yes.
Would you say? What way do you think would be the worst way to go?
Worst way?
Yeah.
I think the worst way...
We know what happened with the dinosaurs. They got removed from the server.
The worst way to go for me would be just like a pandemic.
A pandemic?
Yes, or war. If there's like a war. With
a global war.
Yes.
It would have to be a global war.
It would have to be a global war. Like, with the whole advancements in weapons and, atomic bombs and the likes. When there's like a war between the major, like against major, what's it called?
Major powers.
Yeah. Major world powers. Other people would have to align. You have to take sides. You have to do certain things like that. In the past, it wasn't really like that because Africa wasn't among them.
Yeah,
we didn't have a choice.
Isolated wars.
Yes. But right now, if there was to be like a World War III, it would be hectic.
The last World War, we ended up using another atomic bomb.
Yes. That was crazy.
Although, the magnitude, well, comparing to the population,
Yeah.
the magnitude wasn't that much.
Mm-hmm.
It was about, I think, about 150k people died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah, but then a couple of years later, the Soviet Union, the Russians, they developed an hydrogen bomb, which is like 1,000 times stronger than the atomic bomb.
And people also died in like Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
You know.
but that was just kind of a surprise attack. There was no atomic bomb used.
Yeah.
But do you know do you know about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
I've heard of it.
Oh yeah.
In one of our lectures.
Oh yeah.
That's what made me know it.
That was the height of the Cold War. And the USA and the USSR came close to knocking each other, and it was abated by one small thing. One really small thing. Okay. So the Americans, they found out that there's missile silos, missile plants around Cuba, and what this guy did, John F. Kennedy, what he decided, American president then, what he decided was to barricade, put some kind of embargo on Cuba. That means that no ship is coming in and out, right? And the USSR were supporting Cuba aggressively, Fidel Castro. So they had submarines deep in the water, and the Americans were releasing depth charges to signal to the submarines under the water to come outside. And the submarine, I think it was I can't remember if it was a B-29 or B-59, but this submarine missile can fly a missile directly from Cuba to hit New York.
That was very clear.
Yes. It was ICBM.
But they don't really need to go that far. Russia is still kind of close to America.
Yes, but there's no intercontinental long range missile that can go from, unless it can reach Alaska.
Yes, Alaska and Russia, they are very close.
Yeah, it can reach Alaska. Hey, fun fact about Alaska. Americans, the Russians sold Alaska to America.
For real?
Yeah, for $7.2 million. So, the Louisiana was also sold by the French to the Americans.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was because they did not want the British, because America was a British colony. We're getting too much into history here. Let's go back here. Let's get back here on track.
Yes.
So you believe that war is one way that...
Yes, one way that we're going to get extinct.
This war,
if possible.
This war here, where do you think it might start from? Do you think it might be something like World War One? World War One kind of started like...
Yes, just like a series of events.
A series of events
yes.
that led to assassination and saying that declare war on this, declare war on that.
20-year-old university students.
Yeah. So where do you think it will start from? And how do you think it can actually lead to a war that will lead to like maybe the use of hydrogen bomb or atomic bomb?
I don't know where it will start from exactly, but I feel like the wars that are going on right now could kind of trigger it on the long run. Like if it's not, properly...
You mean like the Middle East war?
Yeah, the one in Middle East and with Russia too. If it's not taken, if measures are not taken fast, or if it doesn't die down after a long period of time, it would go into like a series of events too.
So they go through that series of events. I want to see what it looks like. Let's see. Worst case scenario, there's a war going on in Russia. Then what happens?
It escalates. They win.
Russia take over
Ukraine.
Okay, and what happens?
General. And I believe America would have to... Yes.
Okay.
They don't want things like that. So they would come in and more force would be used. But I doubt they would do that, sir. Because there's this stuff we are learning. When you're balance of power, basically, it's a kind of not make it happen.
How come?
Because they don't want what would come, like the end of...
Okay.
This is very powerful. This is
you know what happens when two world power go to war again.
Even if you're the winner, you're going to take a very big hit. I think there are things in line that will play that would stop it, but you never know with human beings. Anything could happen. I don't really know how it will even pan out, but I'm just saying.
Okay, let me see if I can try from there. So let's say Russia takes over Ukraine.
Yes.
And that means that Russia is now closely tied to NATO members, which like Poland,
Finland. They joined.
Finland. Yeah, Finland. But now they didn't join because those ones joined voluntarily.
Yes.
But now the reason is it's almost like you've taken over a neutral state, just like
Switzerland.
Germany did in World War One.
Okay.
Germany attacked Belgium. That's when Britain joined. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's say Ukraine is kind of neutral because doesn't know whether to go to the west or to the east. So now an aggressive state has taken over a neutral state. That means that my allies by that border will try to suppress
yes, the full overthrow.
Yeah, from expanding,
Yes.
quote unquote. This is what NATO was made for in 1949. The Truman Doctrine, basically containing communism.
To prevent the Soviet Union from expanding.
Yeah, so NATO will go back to containing Russia, and that means that they might probably situate nuclear bombs around, just like they did with Turkey.
Is Japan a neutral state?
Japan is very allied to America.
Allied to America.
Yes.
Because, like, with the fact that it doesn't have a military, like, active military per se, I'm like, maybe it's also, if someone takes over that space, Japan, there could also be a whole series of events.
But, Japan is also, like, increasing its, since the Second World War,
yes,
Japan and Germany, they were like, stay down, stay the fuck down.
Yes.
Right? Like, stay down.
But
like,
you never know still.
You never know.
Until something happens.
Oh, yeah. The Treaty of Versailles after the First World War failed because the Allies could not implement they could not hold Germany to the Versailles treaties.
Yes.
Right? They say 100K army, that's the maximum. Do not go above it. And Hitler was like, fuck you. I'm going to start creating secret police and call them police instead of army. So now they're like, stay down. But recently, because of the way China is moving, right, it seems like their recent alliance with Solomon Island, off the coast of Australia.
Yes.
And their recent adventure into securing influence in Africa and in Asia, just basically moving small, trying to dominate. You can almost call that the Chinese sphere of influence.
Yes, they are growing day by day. It's like they have a hold of Nigeria with the exports.
Yes, they are deep into Africa. That's why any. This is also why most people think that the UN is a failure. I know we always talk about this in our department, political science. Also, by the way, guys, we are both from political science, so if we are geeking so much, that's just
political science.
Political science things. So most people say the UN doesn't work because it's anarchical. No one can hold anyone to anything.
You can't really hold anyone to anything.
Yeah.
Because even as they put sanctions on Russia for certain things, we'll still do what we want to do. Put the sanctions, but we'll do what we want to do.
True.
As a sovereign state, you can do whatever you want to do, no matter the sanctions. You just have to accept them and still do what you want to do.
So it seems like we are taking too long on war. Let's leave war and go to another case where human extinction is possible.
So like the pandemic, you know how the pandemic came through us, took us with a storm.
Yeah.
We didn't expect it. Something worse could happen. People are in lab making crazy things that you wouldn't expect. I see videos of them doing hybrids of like a mouse and a human being or something like that. Even if they kill the embryos before it grows, but you don't know who is doing it with legally.
Let me tell you one crazy fact. So during the Cold War, the Soviet scientists, they tried something. They put two dogs together. So there's basically a dog with two heads, and it survived for a while. There's even in Japan, imperialist Japan, 19th century, they had this thing, I forgot what it's called, something Unit 36 or something, that they were experimenting on humans, doing all sorts of things.
Yeah, crazy things scientists do that would shock you is when it now implodes or it explodes that you now realize, so people are doing this, people are making this. Or I've seen I've watched a couple of movies where to make money, I would create a disease just to sell the antidotes.
Oh, that's it. That's
something like that.
Marketing 101.
Yeah, something like that could just go outrageously wrong.
Create the problem, sell the solution.
And it's not working. There are problems like that. It's something could happen. You never know.
There was this pandemic or epidemic. I thought you different. I'm not that smart. Yeah. In Europe.
Black
plague.
Yes.
It wiped off 60% of Europeans.
That was crazy.
Yeah. And thank God for modern medicines. Most of the things that kill them now No.
That killed them then
Yes.
can kill us now.
Can kill us now. We just have a cure for it.
Yeah, I wish you about that.
You have antibiotics.
Okay, yes.
They died of small things. Like you could probably have like a leg wound, and the doctor would have to sever it.
Extinction.
Yeah, the doctor would have to like cut it off to stop the infection. Yes. And I can just say, put a plaster over it, or put ice block over it.
Put spirit
on it.
Iodine.
Or anointing oil. Could be anything. I don't think it could be anything.
And we can't really just go like
so this. War, some kind of epidemic.
Kind of, yes.
We had some say the COVID-19 came from Wuhan, but the Japanese authorities say that it came from some uncontrolled raw animal market. Or for Nigerian version, someone ate a bat. Bushmeat. I saw a joke. If Jesus came back now, what would you say? And someone said that this was in 2020, and someone said that, well, someone from China hit a bat, and now my life is fucked. That was 2020 in a nutshell. So we had the Wuhan lab leak, we had the animal market, and we also had the someone hit a bat.
Yeah, but you can't really say like an animal market that is illegal caused that, because how many animal markets are here in Nigeria? Nobody even cares about the animal markets. Yeah. Bushmeat is everywhere.
Even on roadside, because someone could say bushmeat and just buy it.
Just storm up from there. I'm sure there are people in this country that's eating bats.
Oh yeah.
The amount of bats in the EU.
So if you do listen to this, people eating mosquitoes. Like this thing.
Yeah, those flies, like after rain and all that. Yes. But scientists are wilding and we don't really know about it.
Yeah, and I also think that it's easier for virus and all these things to spread now because of the rate at which humans travel. Yeah, something that could be assimilated in Europe.
Oh, immigration and like everything.
Because of globalization, right? You can go work in Europe. Your family could be here in Nigeria and like Japan.
It's like if there was something in Ghana right now, I would have cut it.
Definitely.
Because we are having the West African games here.
Mm-hmm. And food supply can be cut. The international system can fail. The markets can fail. World starts collapsing. And, before you know it, humans... But I think humans are kind of smart enough to overcome that.
To overcome that, yes.
As a matter of fact, 99% of species that ever lived have all died.
Wow.
So humans are pretty fucking crazy. We are crazy.
We are survivors.
So, wars, epidemics. Yeah. What about asteroids?
I don't think that's possible.
You don't?
I don't.
Wow, what makes you think that?
I don't know. I don't just think that's possible for like an asteroid to just come. We would have known. We would have checked it. I know we can't really stop it, even if we knew.
That's speak to the mic.
Okay. We can't stop it even if we know, but we would know, wouldn't we? I don't think it's something that could happen.
So you think that if there's a big ass rock coming towards Earth right now, we can easily deflect it?
We can't just go like that.
Where do you think this will come from? International Space Station, NASA, or independent,
No. What's it called?
Stations?
What the people that study stars and
astrologists.
Yes, astrologists. They would know. They would see it. They would tell us.
That's a lot of trust in those people.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't trust NASA though, but maybe the astrologists.
What if it's a Gen Z that is managing a particular
You're watching TikTok and you forget it to pass.
Oh, not only that. What if it's a Gen Z body that is managing a specific station for events like that, and there's a rock coming towards the fucking head, and they say, "Oh, that's my star. It is Titus. It is Pisces." But
You don't know.
No. I'd be mad if I die that way. Find out that it's because someone was astrology body saying that it's spicy, it is Cancer, it's big coming towards us.
That's my star.
That's my star. Oh god. And because it comes at a really high speed, it literally does look like a star.
Yes, like a shooting star.
That would be a very bad way to go out.
That's a shooting star. Next thing is on you.
Let's talk about one last thing here that can
make us extinct.
Make humans go kaboom. What did I tell you in mind? So we have done war, asteroid, virus.
What about
AI?
What
about AI?
AI? I don't know, but I'd
Overtake.
say globalization, technology, and everything. It can actually make us, you know how as it goes on, people start getting more children, less children rather. You know, at a point, nobody would want children. I saw one stuff online like they're going to start making children like in some sort of, how do I put it? Like a lab.
I think science is kind of advanced towards that. I think something embryonic or something. I saw that on Twitter recently, where no one is actually choosing to have babies. They found a way for women to have baby without the need for
Being
basic biological reproductive process.
I think that can also be our downfall, because why not just go to the basics? You have it already. Just do it. Have your baby. Move on.
But what I've come to find is that when it comes to human extinction and relating to birth rate, I found out that countries that are kind of rich tend to have less babies.
Yes.
Like we discussed over off air how America is surviving
on immigrants.
Yes. Because the birth rate is plummeting right now.
Well, I don't know the rates for America, but Japan and Korea.
Of America right now is 1.7.
1.7.
That means that the average woman either has one baby
or
two, but most likely one.
Most likely one.
They are below replacement rate. Replacement rate is 2.4, which means that the average woman should have
3 or 2.
Yes. Imagine that the death rate is very, very high and birth rate is very, very low.
Yeah.
So if death rate is like 4.2, that means that per hour, 4 people die. But at the same time, per hour, 1 person is being given birth to.
So the replacement rate is...
Yes. And that goes on for like a couple of years.
Yeah. After like 50 years, you would see the difference. I believe in 50 years, Japan, the population would have gone down. Definitely. Because there are a whole bunch of old people. And there are no babies. Schools are closing down in like
Japan is like
countrysides.
People are also moving out of the countryside. They're moving to the city. And cities where everything changes.
Tokyo is packed. I watched like tiny home videos and I'm like, how can someone live in such a tiny space?
There's a lot of incentives to move to the city, move to Tokyo.
Yeah, actually, it's because you're like, oh, you make money, you would. In
the Shogunate era, it used to be Edo. Yeah, Edo was the for.
That was the capital.
Yeah, for the Chinese, it was Canton, because Canton is where the Europeans would come to trade. They'll buy porcelain, they'll buy jade, they'll buy silk, and then they'll move it there. And for Nigeria, it was Lagos.
Lagos.
Yeah.
It's just that people need a lot of
people
opportunities.
Are moving, exactly.
That's why you're going for the opportunities you can get.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for it.
But it's kind of bad, right? People leave countryside to move to where they can find opportunities, and they have to be acculturated in some form.
I think the opportunities should be brought to the countryside. Do you get?
But they can't be put there.
You can't be put there, but certain things like I should be able to just stay in Ekiti and not think, I should be going to Lagos. So I should have like a job that I could stay and I'm comfortable with it. Not something that, I have to go to farm or something like that.
True. Let's get back to birth rates here.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned that you mentioned something about diapers.
About?
Diapers.
No, I didn't mention that. I didn't mention that. But
okay. Well, something you said reminded me of diapers.
Okay.
Japan.
Probably because like old people diapers are way more than baby diapers.
Yes. Yeah, there are more adult diapers being sold than there are baby diapers being bought in Japan. Their birth rate is 0.6.
0.6. South Korea beats them.
Oh, wait. South Korea is the one that's 0.6. I'm not sure.
South Korea is lowest.
They're being low. South Korea is very, very low.
I saw something about that, and it's because like living expenses and all that is very high. Yeah. Everybody's moving to Seoul too, and everything is expensive. Nobody's thinking of a child, and there's a lot of focus, and people are not also paying attention that having a child is really important. It's more important than having a job. I'm not saying like women should stop their job. I'm trying to say like the offices should make provisions.
There should be incentive and encouragement for mothers.
Have children, even for fathers too. So you can easily accept those babies that are coming your way.
Well, it is difficult to have babies because for one, divorce rate globally is going up. Yes. Marriage rate is falling down. That means that even those that are married, let's say that there are 3 spikes right now.
Yes.
One is marriage, one is divorce, one is third one I mentioned?
The birth rate.
No, let's just do marriage and divorce, right? No, marriage, married people, and divorce. So marriage is going down, divorce going up. Married people are also
Going down.
That means that people are choosing not to get married.
Yeah.
People are divorcing, and people are also same thing. Fuck it.
Same thing.
English is so difficult. Yeah. I was just trying to paint that image.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah, it's horrible.
Well,
Now,
over the years, as people keep having less children, the population will keep reducing.
yeah.
Even if in Africa, that's not a problem for us
No.
for having a lot of
Oh
children.
yes.
I think one African country, the birth rate is 7.
Oh. When in 2020, Niger had the highest birth rate, 5.0,
Okay.
standing 5.0.
Wow.
That's a lot. That means that the average person, and Niger is not
That's the average.
Niger is not even well off economically.
Yes, no,
It's
they
rules.
only collect money from outside
Yeah.
countries. They
That
can't
means
eat.
that means that the more ruins your country is in, the more likely you start having babies.
Yes.
Even recently, I think 2 years ago or last year, I read that the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, calling him president implies that he's going to leave. He's not leaving the office. Putin is not leaving that office anytime soon. But
Would have said supreme leader, but that's North Korea.
oh, that's not good. Yeah, it's not leaving the office. So he said that people who have 5 kids, women who have 5 kids, will be given 10,000 euros something. It's pretty sharp.
They now pay people to have children.
Even China is trying to. China revoked its one child policy. You brought true child policy. You revoked it. Now it's like, please just
give birth.
just give birth, please, just give birth. And I found out that the more educated you are, the less likely you want to start having children.
Yeah, because having children is a lot.
This is also why Yorubas have the least children in Nigeria.
Yes.
They have the least.
Really?
Yeah, I saw the statistics.
For how many? Should be like 3.
I think it's 2 point something. 2 point something.
I
That's the standard birth rate. That's standard.
Yeah.
2.4 thereabouts.
I thought it would be like the Igbos because they usually have like 2 children.
Yeah. Igbos and Yorubas are the ones that have the least.
2, 3. I would
Yeah,
give it.
that's the birth rate. In the north, 5.6,
Wow.
6.1. So that's the birth rate there.
I think poverty increases
Yeah.
the rate.
Uh-huh.
In the way you're bored, what else can you do?
That's true. And as we said, there's also incentive because
Yes, you need that.
it serves as investment. Yeah. Anyway,
We don't take care of you later.
let's leave that extinction talk there. Well, we are still going to stay in Africa because now I want to talk about African history. Something I'm not very versed in, but we can still have discussions regardless.
Yes.
So, African history, do you think it's as romantic as people try to put it? They say, we had communities, we take care of each other's children, as if it is something distinct from human nature. Now, I'm not saying that wasn't the case or that is the case, but I'm putting it out there for discussion. Do you think when people talk about everything was beautiful before the Europeans, like saying this,
I get to
like the opening of Avatar,
yes.
right? Before the Fire Nation attack. Everything was perfect before the Fire Nation attack. So the Fire Nation in African history is Europeans. So do you think it was the case that
I
everything?
don't think it was the case at all. Because how did the Europeans get these people? We sold them. People sold their own people, their own brothers. So everything wasn't rosy. There were still wars going on. How do you think Queen Amina emerged? There was a war. That's how you would know her. There was going on. Even this movie, Woman King.
Yeah.
Apparently, those guys were the bad guys.
Yes. I mean,
They were the bad
the French had to come in to squash the slave trading stations. They had to come in, among other things. But mostly because of the slave trade. But the fact that this propagandist movie, that I think the opening was based on true events or some, I think it should have been inspired by.
Yes.
You can't just be inspired by true events. You should be inspired by events in a fictitious manner to kind of suit our narrative.
Yes.
Because basically those men were like pseudo quasi slaves to the.
I think they even made the Nigerians the bad guys.
Yeah, I saw the
Bad
video.
guys.
Yeah. I think Hollywood needs to be stopped from making movies about history,
About Africa.
about Africa.
History too.
History too. It's so it's almost like trying to tell a story using the lens that fits your narrative, and that's so bad because you actually insult history lovers like myself. Yeah. Well, anyway,
human beings are, inherently evil based on John Locke. So it's John Locke. Abi?
Thomas Hobbes.
Thomas Hobbes. Yeah, so when you notice it, you realize it can't just be peaceful. It can never be peaceful.
Check the mic.
It can't be peaceful. Wow, that would have been very low.
It was very long.
Yeah. So we can't just be living in peace and then the Fire Nation attacks. There are other attacks in between, clashes between this clan, that clan, tribal wars, this brother and this brother. There's always going to be fights. Just that they came in a large scale. So it made it look like they were the devils. They were the bad guys.
And the exposure to what seems like a more quote-unquote civilized way of living kind of make it seem like ours is primitive.
Yes.
And if you don't have something to compare anything to, like if I can't compare A to B and by a lot of metrics say that B is better than A,
yes,
I will still be saying that, this is the best I can get, guys.
Yeah, the problem is lack of historical documents and things that we know, or how did we live before the Europeans arrived. A lot of our things that they teach us starts from when the Portuguese came to Africa.
Oh yes, that's when history begins.
Yes, when was it? Before the 1800s, I believe. Yeah, and that's when most of our history begins. But we can't see way before. How was this before the influence? How did we do this? How did we do that?
There was no documentation from our side,
yes.
So we can't know much. And it almost seems like there was no history of Africa. Everything was perfect before the Europeans came here, and that would really be a stupid argument to make. Because for one, even if we have to talk about the slave trade, I remember vividly that the longest slave trade
is
the sub-Saharan slave trade. It went on for over 13 centuries. Like over 13, the Arabs were buying and selling Africans en masse. Yes. But there's no argument to make for it.
Yeah, they are not even.
There's no.
It's like everybody's closing their eyes for it, and then focusing on the Europeans only.
It's preceded the transatlantic slave trade by millennials.
And the thing is, slavery has always been there. They just made it mass, and they made it color-based, race-based. That's what made it totally crazy and outrageous that it's still there today.
Thomas Sowell said something. He said, racism is a byproduct of slavery, not the cause of it.
Yes. Not the cause of
it. I do not care as long as I'm making money.
There were slaves before they came to Africa.
Yes.
There were other people that they deemed lower. Yeah. At a point, there was a time that they deemed the Jews lower than the regular Europeans. Then there was also a time that they deemed Irish people lower, or when there's for now all of them, they look the same to me, right? So then they thought someone else was lower. It's they're trying to get power, this person is...
It's a very human thing, because in most of Europe, and here's a fun fact about the word slave.
Yeah.
Apparently it comes from the word Slav.
That's what I thought of.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of reason to believe that, because the Finnish people, they were savages. The Norwegian Vikings, they were not kidding. They can go to a monastery in Britain now, and just read it and bring the loot back.
Yeah.
They even settle in France. They call it Northumbria. So the Vikings, they capture in a war, selling in a war, and it was. I
don't even know which one goes way back, but was it the Romans or the Vikings? Because during the Roman Empire too, and during the time of Plato and Aristotle, there were slaves. They spoke about slavery too. So there were slaves, and it's the Africans that were their slaves.
It's always been there. Even this place, what's now North Africa, that used to be Carthage. Yeah, Carthage was a trading colony that became a slave colony. Yeah, and then it expanded its network, and then they had a clash with the Roman Empire. 264 BC, the First Punic War, and they were squashed by the Roman Empire, eliminated from the face of earth. eliminated from the face of the earth. So slave trade, it has plenty to do with African history, but I do feel like we leave a lot of gray areas out when it comes to making demons of those who partook. Hey, Jesus, who took part in it? Same thing, partook took part.
Yes.
This is so just so confusing.
But I also feel like there are a lot of places that were not affected by slave trade. Like it would have been affected after, like, the sharing of the colonies, but before then, maybe a lot of them weren't sold. Like people in the middle, probably like Niger. I don't think anybody was sold from Niger. Even northern Nigeria, I don't think anyone would have been sold from those places that are inland. It's basically the people that are forward, closer to the water, like Lagos. There was like a hub there in Lagos where they sell people.
The argument, people don't know that Zanzibar, Tunisia today, was the greatest slave hub in Africa.
Zanzibar.
Yes, Zanzibar. Slaves there were. There's this when the British stopped slave trade in 1883, which is a year after the British turned Egypt to a colony. They captured Egypt. So a lot of history here. So initially in 1823, there was a proclamation to stop slave trade, and they also exported it out. Also Americans, they had the Civil War. 1861 to 1865. Slavery was one of the reasons. The free state was the slave state. So when the free states won, they also had the incentive to stop slavery globally.
And the South.
Not at the South. They had the incentive to stop slavery globally. So they also engaged with the British to patrol the high seas to stop slave trade. Now, at this point, slave trade was still continuing, even in places like Brazil. I think Brazil was one of the last.
In America, it's still continued, Yes. Every slave owner was thrilled with it. And
especially Africa. Africa was, most of these African nations were getting powerful off the back of selling their people. Because, bring ammunition, bring this, bring that, and that makes me advance more than you. So they were not particularly happy about the end of the slave trade.
Or the kings that were like sitting down on riches based on selling slaves. Even if not all, but there were a lot. A lot of them were giving out their people, or minus even like the king, the basic people. The average person might just, this my brother is annoying me. Let me use it to make money. Or maybe my sister is useless. Let me sell her off. They did things like that.
But we humanized the slave trade in Africa by saying that, it was the case. It's actually true. The slaves, not everywhere, but it implies that the same thing that happened here is what happens here or here. No, it was isolated thing. There are parts of Africa, prehistorical Africa or pre-colonial Africa, where slaves were treated like humans.
In Africa.
Some parts of Africa, where, like house slaves, you can have children. But in other places, you have to earn your freedom. But then again, in other places, you have to work till you die.
It's like being a slave in the South was way different from being a slave in the Caribbean.
In America, there are even different levels of slaves. They call one field slaves and house slaves. The house slave is just bring my food, and field slave is just like pick up that cotton. It just starts getting your ass whooped. So history of Africa is it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I like to think that Africa plays a pivotal role in understanding human nature.
Oh yes, because like that's where you can go the farthest back to kind of trace things, because modernization came later for us. So you can kind of be like, oh, maybe this is what humans did before.
Especially if you're a realist. If you're a realist, you can just see that civilization is just a facade to stop us from reverting to our human nature, our basic human instinct.
So what's our basic human instinct?
Go and read Thomas Hobbes. Go and read Thomas Hobbes. Thomas Hobbes said that we are in this restless pursuit of happiness, of power.
Yes. Everybody wants to be happy.
Yeah. Machiavelli said the same thing.
But you can never really achieve happiness normally.
What makes you think?
Because
what makes you say that?
When you achieve what you really want to get, you want more. And you're never satisfied. People are not content.
Do you think that's why he said we are in a restless pursuit?
Restless, yes.
Because it doesn't.
It's never ending.
You don't rest.
Never ending.
If you're satiated, it's almost like you eating to your fuel.
Yeah.
What do? You sleep.
You sleep.
And that's boring. Yeah, you can't sleep forever.
You have to wake up. You still be hungry.
Something to excite you.
Yeah.
A sense of adventure.
But the best thing, Abi, for your happiness, find Jesus. Really. There's no other way.
This idea of boredom coming from achieving what you want reminds me of this one guy. I think it's Francis Fukuyama. I can't remember his name. But at the end of the Cold War, this guy said that the world, or America, if I'm paraphrasing him, is going to be so bored. It's going to be very, very bored because there's no war.
Yeah.
In the First World War, everyone was industrializing. New weapons, new cool engines, new cool...
Did you see that rat experiment?
No, don't think so.
Where they kept a bunch of rats in a box and then give them food, give them water. You're free to do anything you want. And then after a point, it led to violence.
Oh, yeah.
They were happy for a while. They started reproducing. Then they now started acting violence and stopped reproducing. Stop, because they were bored. They didn't have what to do. They didn't have to go and fight for their food somewhere. Yeah. They had everything. Everything they could need. They had it. They had it there.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's some argument against that experiment. I remember the rat experiment, but I can't remember every bit of detail in it.
Yeah.
But there's some argument against it, which is that the rat did not have something that humans have. Recreation. They don't have the space.
Okay.
If you are claustrophobic in a very tiny space, you go mad. But human, you can get bored here and travel to Japan if you have the potential.
Yes.
So it is aligned slightly to human nature.
But when you have everything you could want in a place, you most likely not want to travel.
Definitely. You most likely run mad. Now, I'd like to quote this guy, Fyodor Dostoevsky, from his novella, Notes from the Underground. In that book, there's this guy. This guy is very bitter, right? He likes to put himself down, put people down. He's just very dark guy.
Yeah.
And he was making an argument against what you would call paradise or a utopia, right? And his argument was that if you give humans everything they needed, where all they have to do is busy themselves with eating cakes and thinking about how to give birth.
Yeah.
If you give them everything, if all their 2 + 2 = 4, if there's no sense of advance, if there's no sense of adventure, if science has science to finish, there's nothing more to discover, right? You have flying cars, you have boats that go underwater, you have everything you want. People will go crazy.
Yeah, because there's nothing more to do.
There's nothing more to do.
You're bored.
Yes.
During the pandemic, that whole 2020, we were at home doing nothing. So I'm just sitting at home watching a movie every day, lying down, sleeping, eating, not doing anything. Well, you get tired. You get tired after a while. You're looking for something more to do because instead of going to classes on a normal day, you just want to be under AC watching TV and lying down eating.
It gets boring so fast.
When you do that for a couple of months, you're going to look for more.
It makes me think of this thing, that rich people, even after they say they retire, they probably find a garden that they can tend to.
Yeah.
You need something that
you get a dog.
That wakes you up. Yes.
You get a dog.
Get a dog.
Something that costs for Harlan.
Something that will keep you on your feet. Right? And I like to believe that this is what the Taoism is a religion. Yeah. This is what they get right. They believe that the world is compounded of a place for order and chaos. Now, Order is where a place where you are, where everything you know is possible. You can imagine the outcome. You can think about everything. You understand everything. Now, chaos is the undiscovered potential.
Yes.
Everything that you don't know, everything you're afraid of. Now, there should be a balance between these two things, an equilibrium. You can't dispense one without the other. Yeah. It's almost like seeing there's light without dark. One is to illuminate the other.
Yes.
One is to and this is why I like.
And it's like you need trial to be able to grow from something. You know, if you're always succeeding all the time, you just it's something I always do. I don't have to read to pass. But when you fail one day, you know that this thing is important.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take it for granted. You would use that period of happiness properly. You would experience it more. You would value it more.
Is this
Or
an
if
argument?
it's always there's not an argument.
Hold on. Is this an argument? A religious argument for why God gave us free will? You know, the Garden of Eden thing. Like, if you didn't have free will,
You wouldn't.
yes.
It's like we're not robots. God did not want to create robots. Even the angels, they have choice. It's not the Bible.
Live in a paradise.
In a paradise. I don't know. But I know the earth is not going to be forever. And I think based on even the Bible, when you go to heaven, you're not in heaven forever. There's a new earth. Do you get?
Humans are going to turn into shit.
No.
I like that.
But what I'm trying to say basically is like, what was I even saying?
Yeah. Maybe we should close that there.
What was I even saying? Okay. You're talking about choice, you know.
Okay.
How like they have free will. It's like if I just create something to love me and it doesn't have a choice, it's too boring, you know. It's just you're going to do it because you have to do it. But when you have the choice, like you give something the choice to love you and it actually loves you, appreciate it more. You get. I used to see something online, like someone was complaining about her husband and like, oh, she wants him to do this, she wants him to do that, take her on dates, do this, do that. But she doesn't want to have to tell him to do it. So it's kind of like that. I don't want you to just do it.
Wow.
I want it to be your choice, your free will, where you have the options, but then you still do this.
You know, I wish that this is more of a philosophical episode, but this isn't. So we are going to end this African history thing. How do we go from African history to free will? Yeah, how do you do that? Just spiral. Let me end this rant here with a quote from Dostoevsky again. He said that falling in love is easy. Staying in love is hard. It's almost like you helplessly falling for someone, but can you helplessly remain there for someone? Not like a robotic one, but the intentionality that comes behind loving someone for all that they are.
It's choice. You know,
yes, it's choice.
you can easily love anybody.
You can.
You see anybody and you love the person, but it's a choice to continue, to go on. You know, you're for life.
Falling in love should be as much of a choice as it should be something within your under control. I remember telling one friend of mine that catching feelings for you was not my choice, but choosing not to love you was my choice because I could not commit.
Yeah, actually.
But I had feelings for her that I didn't want.
It's a choice. It's an emotion too, so you can't sustain an emotion forever. I can't just be sad all the time, so I can't just love you all the time. So I have to choose to do it, choose to actively, you know, make that happen.
Somehow, we have to know my love in African history. Let's
our next.
Yeah, let's do that there. So I want to talk now about the future of Africa.
The future of Africa.
Yeah, it seems like
do we have a bright future or not? Does Nigeria have a bright future?
Light at the end of the tunnel. You know, there's this oh yeah, if one has spoiled, I was gonna ask whether you've seen this meme flying around about fake things.
No,
Oh boy. Apparently everything in Nigeria is fake.
like what?
Well, people are saying you know there's 4 cousins.
Yes.
People are saying big brother and third cousin and all sort of
Actually,
names.
almost everything is fake. You could you would get one shoe and you see it's 2K in the market. You buy it
You have to
for
speak on.
2K. You buy it like 14K and you think, oh, this is it, because you're saying it's 2K.
Yeah.
No, the actual price is like 100K.
You start saying
So
things
your
like-
line is still fake.
Yes.
Everything is still fake.
It starts in things like Adibas, Abibas, Adipos.
Yeah, but with all these fake things, can people like see their potential? Like, I'm able to copycat something
Wow,
so
that
much.
potential.
Like, can't you see your potential that, oh, I could make something, like I could make a brand on my own, I could. But the thing is, people need to support other people like that.
Yeah, most fake things come from China. Yeah, China is, I mean, we even had that thing. Used to call it chinko
Yes.
for phone, for devices. But now it's not just device anymore. It's plenty of things.
A lot.
China is known for copying different things.
I saw something, a bottle of Azul, they only produce like 100 or something in a year. I don't know the amount.
Yeah,
And
apparently.
Pablo is always with it.
Pablo is always with it. Pablo is always with it on. I don't know. People like to flex a lot. People like to.
Well, the future of Africa, I really don't know. We have the potential.
Do you think
we
Africa
have
has won it?
everything.
Let's start with
Money.
let's start with this initial question. Do you think Africa has a future? Then maybe we can talk about what it looks like. Because going by the trend of military coups right now, going by the trend of corruption
Yeah.
right now, money coming in from aid coming in. One thing that a wise person has done right recently was this guy, Mr. Beast.
What he do?
He came to, I think it was in Kenya. He installed 100 wells,
Wow.
satellites, PCs, devices, different things to a particular community.
That's really nice.
Exactly, because he came to install it themselves. Trust me, I'm telling you, if he had given this money to government, the government.
So the problem with Africa really is not just the government. It's the people too. Because I saw this post the other day that they wanted to make one road. Is it Umaya or something? So when they wanted to make the road, like the governor, I'm not even sure if it's Umaya, but like the village elders, all these young boys, they wanted courts, they wanted them to bribe them, they wanted this, they wanted that. So the man arrested all of them. So he could be able to do road that is not benefiting me, it's benefiting you. I think even in my streets one time, someone wanted to make our road for free. I think she was like a politician or something. She was living around there. So she wants to make the streets. Our streets is so bad. They said no. Why? They want to be collecting money to repair street every year from like the occupants, where you're like, oh, we need 100K or everybody.
And
let's drop.
And even with the intention of doing it for yourself, the bureaucracy that you have to go through.
It's a lot.
It's like, sign this here, fill that there, you know the countries.
I feel bureaucracy should be scrapped. Because what? I guess, okay, corruption is supposed to be hard when there's bureaucracy. But it's so easy for us.
Yes.
The only difference is, you have to bribe more people.
So
What? That particular bribe, just share it among
it
them.
becomes a problem with the system, not the people.
Yeah.
Because if you occupy the system, there's definitely a chance that the only way you can survive. I mean, look at the police now.
Yeah.
The only way they can, the only way, not the higher ups, but the ones scraping from the bottom, the street wardens, the ones patrolling the road. The only way they can survive is through collecting money from the people.
I can't really blame them. They have people to feed. When government is not doing their parts, you have to just look for other routes.
The future of Africa, what do you think it looks like? Do you think Africa has a future? Do you think?
I don't even know. I feel we don't really have a future in Africa.
One thing that can help us a lot, we should be education.
It's not helping.
We're not paying attention to it.
We're not paying attention.
Education is supposed to be possibly the most. Look at Europe, man. Look, when Scotland when Scotland merged with not really merged, when Britain took over Scotland, it was initially the Romans. This guy, let me see if I can remember them again. It was I can't remember them. I'm trying to remember the Roman Empire starting from Julius Caesar. They had an adopted son. I can't remember his name right now. Anyway, so it was this guy Claudius that gave birth to Nero, what possibly was Roman emperor. So it was Claudius that colonized
Scotland.
No, Britain.
Britain.
Yeah, he was never able to colonize Scotland because just the point is that when Scotland was merged with the Britannian people, they became so educated. I've forgotten all the names, but come and see scholars coming out of Scots. Come and see scholars, and the way they contributed to the European tradition was so vast that, I mean, even Germany was pumping out scholars en masse. Karl Marx, Hegel.
Yeah. I think another thing that Africa is like not focusing on is people. Like you said, people are resources, human resources. Like you need people to grow. Focus on them, make investments on people, and like you'll be able to do more. Like I don't know how I could even explain that, because they are not focusing on the people. They are not focusing on, oh, if this person grows, this person will do this. If the people have this, they will do this. You know how they are not even focusing on a lot of people, and we're having brain drain.
Well, yeah, I was
There's
going
a
to say
lot of
that's
brain
why
drain.
people leave the country.
Yeah, because they're not focusing on the people. I think they just want to come and take their own share. They say it's their turn.
It reminds me of this thing I had with Mr. Bukola. I think it was a third episode I had on my podcast, and he mentioned two types of politicians. I don't remember what to call them, but there's one that comes to stay with you, and
The one that just wants to take and go.
yes, most Africans just want to take and go.
Yes.
Like, do what you want to do. Bring your corporation here, but you must pay this amount of money.
Just
That is bad. And that is bad. So each regime just wants what it can take and leave.
You're not even there to be like, oh, I did this. Let me make this so that it will show that it's me that did it. They're not interested.
You don't think say he wants to use one amount of money. No, I saw something in the report saying that they want to renovate the National Assembly or House of Assembly for like $30 billion naira or something.
That's not needed. That's not needed. What happened to renovating OAU? See all the policies, see all this. You know, what happened to renovating roads? I think in this country, only major roads are tarred. Every other road leading into the streets is not their business. Do things like that. You know, make investments in actual things, not what's not needed. Okay, House of Assembly. Who says House of Assembly is not even good now?
I mean, they're buying SUVs, they're buying ships, they're doing everything.
Yacht.
I saw that one.
Presidential yacht.
Presidential yacht.
That what? When is there water in Asteroid Rock?
Is that real? That was president. The yacht will be moved to Lagos or moved to all this coastal area of Nigeria.
And then they will just be paying parking fee. They're not using it.
Leadership is fucked, but I don't think it's leader.
So what?
It's the people.
The people.
Yeah. The people are quick to take advantage of each other. I wanted to write something recently, and I was going to title it the predatory pathology in Nigeria. You know, so predator is to prey on something, on someone, and everyone has that. Not just the
I think that whole characteristics contributed to slave trade. And it's still there thing now. You don't care. You're not your brother's keeper.
It's a soft culture. Yeah. Small rain, bike man wants to increase price.
Yes.
Small inflation, business person wants to increase. Small this, landlord wants to do this. And there's that chain effect that affects every sector of the economy.
You know, just like our convocation the other day, that bike men just started calling 500 for somewhere that is 200. At the 200 itself did not make sense before, but now it's 5H. Like, you were already going to make money based on the amount of people that are going to enter your bike today. So why increase the price?
A person that doesn't understand Adam Smith, who wrote Wealth of Nation in 1776, would say that, fuck capitalism. This is not capitalism. America was built on capitalism, transparency. What we have here is crooked capitalism. It's just taking advantage of everyone. That's not it.
Yeah, even if the price of something, when a price increase, they would increase their price. But when it reduces back, we are not going back down.
You're not.
You know, it will still remain up there.
At a point in Nigeria, we're saying that, this price is this. It will come down next month. If price don't increase like this.
Do you remember this stuff, Nitrisi? You remember Nitrisi that was 20 naira? I saw it the other day and they told me 150. From 20 naira to 150.
Remember titles? At a point, all of us nationally, we hear the price of titles, and we say that if you are buying this thing, we are calling EFC on you.
Yes. I'm now saying it's 1K.
Bro, from 120. That's even as far as I can remember. Previous generation were probably buying 15 naira.
Probably. People were taking this to boarding school now that they'll stack it,
But the problem with inflation is that it is sometimes externally induced.
Externally?
Yeah. Nigerian currency is backed against dollar.
Yes.
Just like most of the world economy.
So when dollar also diminishes, ours too would.
Dollar is diminishing in value like fuck because Joe Biden keeps printing fuck ton of money.
If ours is to them, what's theirs too?
Theirs it should be against gold. Every world economy should have been against gold. But in 1971, even before that, but less than 1971, everything changed. Your reserve should be backed against the gold. But now your reserve is backed against the dollar. That means that dollar is a legal tender. Yep. If you want to make an international transaction, dollar is the go-to. And that means that Americans can abuse it because basically they can print as much money as they want.
Yes, because it's not just in their country.
Yeah.
It's used all around.
Benefit boys, the collecting their details thing and then using it to like max out their card for $5,000. It was an American thing that came to Nigeria. That means that as a first time in America, you can make fuck ton of money that the government will have to pay. Right? So not just there are a lot of loopholes in the system, IRS, tax fraud, a lot of things. And they have to print money to pay these people. And they have projects. I think as of last year, Joe Biden presented the bill to the Senate, omnibus bill, $1.7 trillion asking for that. And I saw the content.
And as we are to as the naira is to the dollar, it's also affecting us, so we can't really do anything about it.
Exactly.
I think that's another reason Africa cannot really go up. We can't grow as much because we are dependent.
So the future of Africa doesn't seem bright in that context.
It doesn't seem bright.
So even internally and externally.
Another reason why I feel Africa cannot really develop as much is because of, how the whole dynamics in the global north and global south is. The global north are trying to keep the global south down. Did you notice?
They want to remain north.
Yes.
If they want to remain north.
Have to.
Not necessarily to keep it down, but if for a very long time you've been trade partners and I've been making money off you, not with the intention of keeping you down, but with the intention of keeping myself up.
Yes.
You get?
Yes.
It's not.
It's like I have to be in position, you want this position I'm in.
Yes.
So I have to make sure you don't even know you're able to get it.
I think the way they look at it is I have to make sure I keep myself here.
Yes.
Not stop you from getting here.
Yes. I'm not trying to stop you.
Yes.
I want to stay here.
Yeah, because it implies some kind of antagonistic way of relation, and nobody likes that.
I feel they're just pretending.
Yes.
So I'm keeping you down.
Really?
Just
so
say it with your full chest. Say it with your full chest, but there could still be countries with potential that could still make it regardless.
Botswana is saying good. You can. Is it which one?
These countries that are even underdeveloped have never been just there. They've never been on par. We are under. Never been on par. So to even get up, to get on par without even being a developed nation is hard because we're never there in the first place.
Without the technology, without the education, without the leadership.
Yes.
That is very, very important.
Leadership is very important.
A lot of key things that contribute to nation development.
When you look at South Korea, how it just blew up. It was in the global south before. Before now, it's up.
Singapore.
It's up there.
Japan.
Singapore, yeah. I think what they call it in economics, there is countries that went up, their economies went up,
I don't know what they're called.
Forgetting what they're called.
Well, I know that these countries don't have any natural resources.
Yes, and they were able to grow regardless, and development was still there. And Africa should be able to get that. Even if not everybody, but we should be able to see a country like South Africa that has potential move up, Nigeria move up, and there's this other country you mentioned, is it Botswana?
Japan.
No, Africa.
Oh, Botswana.
Yeah. You could also move up, even if we don't think everyone would, but some.
Mauritania is also doing well.
Yeah.
Mauritania has the highest HDI.
I think it's because of like the tourism.
Yeah, they're also very small.
And we should also focus on a sector. I think that's something about Nigeria. Like we should focus on a sector that we want to grow. We want the sector to be something. Let this be where we are, even if you're not neglecting others, but focus on certain sectors. Just like how Dubai, their tourism sector helped them a lot.
We tried in, I had this assignment in my class. I was supposed to pick one policy and analyze it. So the one I picked apparently was the earliest one, Operation Feed the Nation. 1970. So it was when it was after the oil crash. Crash. Yeah, there was a boom and there was a crash. It was after the oil crash, 1973, globally. That was when Nigeria decided to move a little bit from the oil sector to the agricultural sector, where it didn't work because it was too radical and corruption.
Because we had the agricultural sector before, and then the oil came, and then they just neglected it.
Oh yeah.
They just so you now was gonna pick it back after you.
And the oil wasn't even it wasn't even developed. It was just, guys, we are rich, come and get your oil, just pure money.
Like you would forget that Saudi Arabia, they have oil because their tourism sector is still very good. It's improving. They generate money from that, like massive money, and they still have their oil. So Nigeria should be able to focus on something else.
Okay, let's we are not going too far from Nigeria here. We are still there. Now, something you were excited to talk about, tribalism in Nigeria.
Tribalism in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I think tribalism in Nigeria is something that if you're where your own tribe is, you're not going to notice that something like that is going on. As a Yoruba person in Lagos, you don't know. You're moving, you're going your basic life. In Ife, you're going your basic life, but it's subtle things. Subtle things like, oh, Igbo person cannot come and rent my house. Oh, I cannot marry Igbo person. Why?
Before we get there, let me ask you this question.
Oh.
Tribalism, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you think it is human, or you believe that it is just isolated group of people that believe this way?
I feel tribalism is human. It's not only tribalism. It happens regardless of the separation. When you notice someone is different from you, there are a group of people that will now start hating. Because when you look on a larger scale now, you see racism. Oh no, let's look at only the one race. You now see Ghana and Nigeria fighting online for jollof rice.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday they were shouting Ghana must go, when Ghana they were playing basketball. And then you come to Nigeria in itself, you see tribalism. You leave tribalism. Let's say, okay, come to only the Yoruba people. You see Ife, Modakeke fighting.
So there are different skills of
different
familial likeness, you could call it.
Yes. Discrimination.
Okay.
Differently. When you bring out these people, they don't like each other. When you bring them out, like a Nigerian person that doesn't ordinarily like a Hausa person, like you're Hausa and you don't really like a Yoruba person. If you're out of Nigeria, you guys will relate. Yeah. You guys would find your similarities and go with regardless. But when you now bring each other down to your closest, you start seeing these differences. And
so that's when differences you believe that lead to tribalism escalates as based on closeness. Physical closeness to shared territory.
It's not really about physical closeness. Like, because you could be close, but because of where we are, you might still be tribalistic.
So okay, if we are on neutral ground, which is foreign to both of us, our tribal instinct could be deteriorated, could even be non-existent.
Yes.
Well, if we are on our land and you are on my land or I am on your land, it increases.
Yeah, but I don't really even get it. Like, what's the point? I get that it's like, oh, people don't really like people that are different from them, but is it that deep?
Trust me.
Why are you hating on people for no reason just because they are like...
Oh, yeah.
It's confusing.
I think it is you implying that it's only in human nature. Have you seen chimpanzees go to war?
I've not.
They go to war. Chimpanzees go to war. They...
With other chimpanzees?
Yes. They go to war with other chimpanzees. Have you seen Planet of the Apes?
Just a clip. or something
That is humans versus apes.
Mm-hmm.
Apes go to wars against apes. There's a Netflix documentary, the chimps of Guinea Con. It's based in Africa.
Yeah.
They go to war. They are chimpanzees they put around trees to serve as scouts. They have their own politics, just like every other animal. So I think it's an animal thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, people you grew up with, you have ties to them.
Yes.
In America, you could say white supremacists, KKK, right, against the black.
Yes.
In South Africa, the xenophobia, or in Japan, it is racism because Japan does not like they don't like
foreigners.
Don't like foreigners. They don't do well with not importation.
They don't do
immigration.
Immigration.
Yeah, they don't do that. They don't do like that. They don't. So I think it is very, very human. But then there are ways that this can be escalated.
Yes.
That's
the problem because it's normal for you to prefer someone that is like you over someone that is not like you. It's normal, but when it comes to important things, when it comes to larger scale things that
living together,
it's not necessary. Like there was stuff that happened. I did pre-degree. Yeah, so it's like kind of assured if you pass your pre-degree exams, you're going to have to come here. You get admission in OAU.
Yeah.
But I got admission normal. A lot of people got their admission normal. But then the people that I saw that they delayed their admission and they had to go to the school to be like, oh, why don't I have this? They had to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
The pattern was the same. They were not Yoruba. And you'll be shocked, like in this school around us, are these things still happening today? You'll be shocked that tribalism is still there. You know, I think someone was like, oh, they're going to get a school in their own states. Why? They're like, hey, it's easy to get admission that way. But you would not expect it, that they're going to be tribalistic in something like that.
Nigeria has this thing, federal character.
Yeah.
It basically means that, okay, in this place, you should, for the sake of unity, you should have 5 people here from this place, 10 from here, can you come from here? Proportional to the place.
Yeah.
Like if I can go to an Hausa place and say I want a majority of Yoruba people in my National Assembly, yeah? Well, our federal character does not work because look at Tinubu. Almost all his ministers are Yoruba.
Yes.
So I think that when tribalism finds a way into our political system, it becomes very bad.
Into the system. If it's like a personal one-on-one thing that, oh, I don't want to marry someone from this tribe, that's your business. But when it like impacts people largely or like is on a larger scale, it's uncalled for.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't really blame the president because when you look back on this guy, is he Agoyin Iransi or there's someone that took over after there was a coup in 1963. I mean, is it 1963? No, 1966. Yeah, after then he started getting northern guys around him because he's Igbo. So he didn't want it to feel like, oh, the coup was planned by Igbo people. So let me just get the Hausa guys so it to feel like, yeah, there's diversity and all that. But those were the same people that killed him because he tried to diversify.
There's a danger in trusting someone that isn't so much like you.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
if you don't really have similarities, you'll be like, oh, maybe this person would not align with what I'm saying, or this person would not. It's really confusing.
Yeah, it becomes something called right-wing pathology. You know, conservatism that goes too hard.
Yeah.
You know, like liberalism kind of brings a little bit of, guys, let's be peaceful. It's almost like idealism and realism again. Like as a reality, we see that as a Yoruba man, I need to be in a Yoruba state.
Yes.
What I can say as an ideal is that, guys, let's try to increase the rate of multiculturalism so that we can bring peace. And where tribalism goes too high, it becomes racism. And this is where you find people like Adolf Hitler. He was as racist to the core as it could be. He did not like the Jews for one thing. He practically gassed 6 million of them. So I do feel like, the Armenian genocide too, during World War One, and then the Rwanda genocide. Yeah. So.
Wow. The Rwandan genocide was a lot.
That's the worst case scenario of any kind of any tribalism.
Tribalism.
Any difference that can be increased exponentially to a degree of hatred that can be coupled by anything else.
I think also that we're in a modern day, people should like kind of reduce that kind of tribal tension.
It's not so easy. It's biological.
It's
It's
not so
human.
easy, but let's not be that deep. You know, Rwandan genocide was a lot. And also in Nigeria, a politician is coming and he comes with the face of, this is my tribe. So yeah,
it works.
My tribe. No, yeah, I get what they are doing.
Yeah,
I get their scope. Because
politician being politicians.
the Yoruba people are realizing what's up. But they will now come and say, oh yeah, this is my guy. I want my own person there. I want this. But
I mean, this is what Tinubu wrote on now. Our Lokon, Emi Lokon.
yes.
You know, it implies that there's a division and it's our turn.
Yes.
Anyway, so I think we should close. Oh, before I even actually close, I mean to ask you, what do you think is mostly accelerating tribalism between among Nigerians today?
Nigerians.
Yeah, do you think the internet has a large role to play in it?
No, I don't think so.
Really? You think the internet, when it comes to tribalism, does more good than bad?
But I'm not really on Twitter because I believe it's Twitter this problem is from.
Especially during the election.
X. But I feel it makes you open to other things. Or does it? I'm not really sure because I've not had any influence per se or seen any tribalistic thing online. I would only see it in person. I would only see something happening and I'm like, that's tribalist. You know, but I don't know if the internet really has much influence on it. The election stirs people up. That was a problem.
Definitely.
It's an election. Politics stir people up. So those things are expected. Certain things are expected. But I don't think the internet would I don't think it does, promote tribalism or stir it up.
Well, I guess we should leave that there.
Yeah.
Now, I think I have one last thing to discuss here before we round this up. But let me ask you, how are you feeling so far?
How am I feeling? I'm just there. Grateful to be alive. Yeah.
How are you feeling on this podcast so far?
On this podcast, it's
You have to speak closely.
I have to speak closely. It's interesting, to get to talk about certain things extensively. Even if it's not really that extensive.
Yeah.
But, just talk to people, listen to different people's views. Even watching your other podcasts, seeing the other guests, different things people have to say. Because I don't want to say.
Well, I'm glad you feel whatever you said, even though I don't think you answered it.
I know.
Yeah, alive.
Yeah, I feel all right.
Okay.
I feel too.
That's enough. So our last topic here is something friendly or not so friendly. Yoruba men.
Yoruba men.
I feel like there's
a prejudice.
There's an agenda
Abi?
against us.
I think it's you guys that have the agenda against women.
What does that even mean? Yemisi, what does that even mean?
I think the problem with the whole Yoruba, I believe it's Yoruba demon you're talking about.
Yeah.
Abi, is because they will come all dazzling, sweet talk, this and that, just to end up giving you breakfast or being with multiple women, giving people headache. You see girls crying over people, and mainly it's Yoruba people. It's Yoruba men.
No, look, I think you know what? I think this is just a propaganda. But firstly, if it is the case that people all of these things happen, there's you're in distress or you're not really distress, but I come to save my damn self. As a charming guy, the whole sweet, half demonic, kind of guy. What do you think is alluring that makes people make it so that you can absolutely not fall for this man? You absolutely cannot fall victim to my charm.
I don't get the question.
The question is, what is so alluring about Yoruba demons that make people, despite the fact that they are known for everything that goes around them,
but then they'll still accept.
So,
well, I don't really have first-hand experience.
you are missing out. You are missing out. And I'm not saying it to be a pervert, but
the eyes are deceiving. Beauty is deceiving.
I don't think you've tasted this kind of jollof rice before. Nose can be deceiving too. Don't just if
you know, but let me saturate. I think that's how it is. Like the jollof rice you're seeing now, it smells so nice. But then someone has tasted it and has told you, oh, this is not sweet though. Well, like, maybe mine will be different. I think that's it. It's like,
I mean, it's not a bad theory because all of us have different taste buds.
Yeah.
It's not really a bad theory.
I don't even know why it's one like specific to Yoruba men because
you're again too far from the mic.
I don't know why it's like too centered on Yoruba people. I thought it would be Nigerian men, basically. Like,
well, it can be expanded because the most educated people in Nigeria right now are the
Yoruba
and the Igbos.
Yeah.
Right.
But why is it not the Igbo demon?
Well, I mean, the Igbos they have this soft culture that is placed on money.
Okay, rather than
the sweet,
the talk and how you're dressed and how you're you're sweet talking the girl and all. There's I don't
free money at all.
They just
Chinedu, come on, go take my card. Go to the market. Hey, hello, babes. What say you about you and I going down to the pool? Like there's that bit of charm can charisma. Yes, that bit of charm and charisma to you that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And so that's the alluring part. But do you also think that it is like fire in some sense, where you like to play with fire.
You like the warmth.
Yes.
You like the warmth, but don't be on this side.
But some put their hand inside, and
you just want to. Curiosity kills
some
cats.
become firebenders. Some become firebenders, and some like their cats killed. So, and when that happens, I have to call myself Mr. Curiosity because I just killed your cat. So that sweetness, you see. And when it comes to fire again, there's just
Yes.
there's something attractive about fire.
But it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
But it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, women write Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer.
I didn't even get that.
Letters. So
even with the movie that came out, I was like, oh, people liked it. People were, I'm like, be coming down.
And people like Joe.
Is this whole bad boy thing?
Have you seen You?
Yes.
People like Joe.
That's crazy.
He's a sociopath.
Yeah.
So there's something attractive about some sense of danger. And if you ask women, some women, especially on the streets, like, put a mic to their face and ask them, would you rather date a bad boy or a nice guy? Let me ask you.
I think there's this good boy.
Let me ask you, if you had to date a bad boy or a nice guy, what would your option be? No in between.
No in between.
I
like peace. I like stability. So a nice guy is the obvious choice. But there's this thing about nice guys. Is that it's like I'm doing this for you. It's like I'm nice to you, so you should accept me. Do you get? So I think that's why people don't really. It's like as if they are pretending.
Do you think it's because they don't have anything to offer in form of, other things that are kind of attractive by the bad guy? Because the bad guys, they kind of ooze confidence, ooze confidence and charisma and charm. But then these guys just do. You wake up, it's a morning text from this guy. Hey princess.
Hey love.
This is boring. I think maybe I used to be a bad guy, not a bad guy. I used to be a nice guy myself, and oh God, I was horrible at it. I was even horrible at being a nice guy.
But like that's the thing, you're trying.
And I wasn't even trying. I was just being myself.
You just be yourself.
Yeah, and I think
so you just carry someone's bag for them, and let me just help you out. Let me just.
Well, I'm not saying I'm a bad guy or anything, but I'm not a nice guy.
And again, it's the whole human thing. It's like you don't want it to be boring. You want something to shock you.
Like novelty.
You want something to shock you. I mean, you won't. Have you ever seen this thing that they're like, the relationship is too boring? Like, you see a girl say, hey, I want to argue. I wanted to shout at me.
You know, I had that with this stupid girl, Fikayo, on my episode. We were talking about sexual selection, and she was saying something, and I agreed with her. She flew up, like, why are you arguing with me? It's too easy.
He wants something
Yes.
that, they want to be like, I changed him. Or do you know this stuff that they're like maybe the guy has anger issues, he's fighting, and then you want to be like, no.
Oh, Face, this is not you.
Yeah, look at me.
Look at
It's
me.
me.
Look at me, Face, this is not
Talk to me. They want all those places
This
while
is literally Beauty and the Beast. This is literally Beauty and the Beast. And it worked well for the cinema. But if the beast feed you, well, I don't think Yoruba men are beasts. We are the most delicate things.
I don't know either, Sha.
I was going to make an allusion. The most delicate things. What is very delicate?
Egg.
The most delicate sense is my heart. My heart is very delicate. All right. So that is just like it. Yeah. So we are very sweet people, and I think the propaganda levied against us is kind of ruining our image. And
But then, like you said, stereotypes are true to some extent.
don't use my weapon against me. How dare you? How dare you, Yemisi? How dare you?
Well, is it like?
It's like this meme I saw, Harry Potter. Harry, how dare you use my spell against me? I think it was he pointed the one that's Voldemort.
But yes.
Yeah, Harry, how dare you use my spell against me? Yeah, but I mean, it is more true that we are sweet people, all right? You enjoy the part, all right? Especially if you are married to a poet. I saw this thing that I am more on the literature hand on TikTok, and I saw this thing. It was a girl that posted this. She said, "Oh, to be loved by a poet." Like, I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like, because there are times where I just write and there's no recipient for it. Let me actually read you something I wrote recently, and you see how some of the things I write, they just.
It's because you're able to capture your emotions in words.
Yeah, and for most people that's a beautiful thing.
Unlike the regular man that they're like, hey, he's not emotional. But he doesn't express himself.
He doesn't express himself. Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
So say I miss you. It's a desperate measure to keep myself from using the stronger words. I don't just miss you. I long for you. The thoughts of you do poetic justice to my soul. I must sing songs of my desperation, despite the failure of my lexicon to sufficiently convey how I feel for you at the moment. My words have failed me. The faults of my humanity have reduced me to a thing that desires, far beyond my control. For right now, I desire only you. To be separated from you by distance feels like a cruel joke nature is playing on me. I have unsheathed my sword, so then I might have a chance to break through time and undo the faults of my mortality. Perhaps I can warp time and space out of this sinister desperation that eats me from within. It is hard to express myself in words, but what madness I am not able to express on the street I've taken to sheets and screens for you to see. Simply put, I desire you. My heart calls for you. I have put my shame to side, and I have temporarily relinquished control over myself, so I may listen to the tunes of desperation my heart sing. The heart, after all, wants what the heart wants. Perhaps I will pay greatly for this vulnerability. Perhaps I will suffer greatly for daring to love and to be loved. I just miss you in a quiet, simple, desperate, human way. Dear unknown.
Dear unknown.
Dear unknown. Now imagine, I actually did end up sending this to someone I once loved, had feelings for, and I thought she might be the best person to get that. So I don't know. We are just very sweet.
It's because you can express yourself in words.
Yeah, well.
Because a lot of times people don't express themselves as much as they want to. You have a lot of people you would see and like, oh yeah, I love this person. Like a lot of people you're interacting with that you read, but you can't express yourself.
And they say things like, words cannot express how I feel about you.
But just imagine telling your brother that you love him, or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't. That's weird. That's But a poet could write it down. You express all your feeling. And
because the Yorubas place plenty emphasis on education.
Yeah.
It is very easy for you to express yourself in ways,
Yes.
and not even just literature, intellectually too, and that can be attractive. So, what advice would you have for anyone out there that is afraid of the Yoruba men?
Yoruba men.
Would you say take a leap of faith or something?
If you're skeptical about it, don't try it.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode. This is the
Well, no worries, it's stereotype. But a lot of them are. I don't know if you can pick the percentage that are not.
yeah.
For yeah,
Stay trying, man. You'll find the best person.
do risk it, sha.
What is wrong with you? I'm trying to sell market here. You can't keep doing this. Guys, risk it. Life is short. And you know what you see? Life is short. But anyway, you deserve to be loved. And I would suggest you try someone that can offer you the best.
Yes.
And yeah, we are now at the end of the episode. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I hope you had a wonderful time here.
Yeah, I did.
We have class tomorrow. So
Are you serious?
this is Wednesday.
What class?
I don't know.
Damn.
Regular Wednesday classes. Yeah. So I'll see you guys next week. And have a wonderful one.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Tell them to subscribe.
It's Yemisi Ailara. Subscribe to the Big Fizz podcast.
And like this episode and share with your friends. I will see you around. Bye.